All right, so today we're going to factor 4 terms, and we're going to split them up either as 3 and 1 or 1 and 3. When we're doing this, the 3 terms are going to end up being a perfect square trinomial. And the 1 term is just going to be a perfect square. So when we start off with 4 terms, we want to identify where the perfect square trinomial is. This is going to be our perfect square trinomial because we have squares on the ends, and their square roots times 2 give us the middle term. So once we find the perfect square trinomial, we need to factor it. So once we factor the perfect square trinomial, then we have a square minus a square, and we can factor that like we did in the last class. So it's going to be t plus 2s plus something, t plus 2s minus something, be plus 5p minus 5p. And so that's what we got to do. On example number 1, I have a perfect square trinomial that factors to x minus 4y squared. Now I got a square minus a square, so x minus 4y plus x minus 4y minus plus 7 minus 7. On number 2, I don't have a perfect square trinomial all lined up. Sometimes you'll have to rearrange them. So in the perfect square trinomial, the middle term is the only one that's not a square, which means this is going to be the middle term. So I'm going to have something on either side of it, and then the leftover one. The middle term is made up of m's, as in Mary, not n's, as in Nancy. So that means I'm going to have m squared plus 9, and then a 9n squared left over. That's our perfect square trinomial, which factors to m minus 3 squared minus 9n squared. So I have m minus 3 plus m minus 3 minus plus 3n minus 3n. And done. So again, on number 3, it's not in the right order because that's going to be my middle term because it's not a square. It's going to be made of the m and the 1 because there's no n's in it. So m squared minus 2m plus 1 minus n squared. Perfect square trinomial. M minus 1 squared minus n squared. M minus 1 plus n minus 1 minus. It's going to be plus n minus n. Example 4, my perfect square trinomial is already in the right order and in the front, ready to go. X minus 2y squared. I have a square minus a square, x minus 2y plus x minus 2y minus. It's going to be plus 8w minus 8w. Sometimes our perfect square trinomial is going to come at the end, which is the case on our first example here. Here is my perfect square trinomial. But I need to have a square minus a perfect square trinomial. So in this first example, I have to factor out a negative, change all the signs. Now I have a perfect square trinomial minus from the squared. So I'm going to have 2y, I'm sorry, not yet, 4y squared minus, and this factors 2x plus 5 squared. Now we got a square minus a square. 2y plus 2y minus x plus 5, x plus 5. We got to put the parentheses because we're going to distribute that negative and go both ways. So I end up with 2y plus x plus 5, 2y minus x minus 5. Here's my perfect square trinomial. And the one that's not a part of it has to be positive if it's at the front. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So I have 16y squared minus x squared plus 10x plus 25. Now I'm going to have a square minus a square once I factor that. Square minus a square. So I got 4y plus 4y minus plus an x plus 5 minus an x plus 5. 4y plus x plus 5 and 4y minus x minus 5. On number 6, there's my middle term. It's made of x's and y's, so it's going to need to go in between the x's and the y's. This one's positive, so it's going to stay at the front. 36 minus 9x squared minus 6xy plus y squared. 36 minus, and that's going to factor 2, 3x minus y squared. 6 plus, 6 minus, plus 3x minus y, minus 3x minus y. 6 plus 3x minus y, 6 minus 3x plus y. On number 7, I'm going to have to take out a GCF of 2z squared. And I need to do some rearranging. This is going to be a middle term. And since this is positive, it has to stay at the front. So 144y squared minus, I'll go ahead and rearrange them. Change the signs. Let's make this a bracket. So I have 2z squared, 144 minus 2x minus 3 squared. 2z squared, 12 plus, 12 minus, plus 2x minus 3 and minus 2x minus 3. Finish it up, 2z squared, 12 plus 2x minus 3, 12 minus 2x plus 3, and we're finished. On 8, I got 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. Those 3 terms have a GCF of a to the 5th minus a, so I'm going to factor that out. Left with a squared plus 4a plus 4. This factors, so we got to do it. A times a to the 4th minus 1 This is a perfect square trinomial. Still got a square minus a square. So a squared plus 1, a squared minus 1. Still got a square minus a square. A plus 1, a minus 1, a plus 2 squared. All right, there you go. Worksheets about to be passed out. Get started. Check your answers. Google chat me if you have a question.